Macarena Ferrero is preparing to submit herself to prison after she was sentenced to 7 years with a high bail in prison for fraud. She has informed her parents that she is going on a sailing trip and will not be able to contact them for a few days. Though her sentence is 7 years long, she believes that she will be out soon because she is framed in this fraud case. If she changes her lawyer, then she will be able to get out of prison soon. Once inside the prison, she is first assigned to a cell with a bad lady named Zulema. She is the most dangerous inmate, and her loyal friend is Sarai, who is also her cellmate. However, Zulema refuses to have Macarena in her cell, showing off instantly her control over the prison. When the lady guard, Paloma, tries to force Macarena to stay in Zulema's cell, she is threatened by the inmate and has to take Macarena to another cell. While going towards the other cell, Paloma gets anxious, as if she is having some urgency. So he asks her colleague Fabio to take Macarena to the next cell. So now the cellmates of Macarena are Soledad, Annabelle, and Yolanda. Meanwhile, Paloma sits in the changing room and extracts her milk from the feeder for her baby. Just then, she receives a video on his phone in which someone is inside Paloma's house, keeping an eye on her baby. This is the same scenario by which Zulema threatened her just a few minutes ago. So Paloma again goes to meet Zulema, and this time the inmate wants Paloma's access card. With no other choice but to save her baby, Paloma has to hand over her access card to Zulema. Back to Macarena, who meets a lady called Curvy by the inmates. She is very friendly with Macarena, but this scene makes Sarai jealous of Macarena because Curvy is her girlfriend, and they recently broke up with each other. Sarai can't see Curvy with someone else, as she is a lesbian and loves Curvy. After that, Macarena tells her inmates that she needs a lawyer and that she will be able to get out of the prison soon because she is inside by mistake. To this, Annabelle offers her help and promises to give her lawyer to Macarena. At night, when Macarena is not able to sleep in the noise of prison activities, her cellmate Yolanda calms her and also shares the secret of her tattoo, 8, on her arm. After some time, she witnesses Yolanda getting out of their cell with Zulema for a smoke. Later, the prison guards, during the routine inspection, find out that the door of the laundry room is open. When they get inside to check, they discover the dead body of Yolanda there. In no time, all the prison staff came there along with the doctor to inspect the crime scene, but no evidence was found there. Only Macarena witnessed Yolanda going with Zulema at night. In the morning, Macarena is confused about whether she should tell the governor of the prison about the previous night or not. She also does not feel like eating the food of prison, to which Fabio helps her. Just when Macarena thinks about telling Fabio about Yolanda, Zulema comes there, making her presence a threat to Macarena. So Macarena doesn't speak up. Later, when Macarena is farming, she learns from an inmate that Yolanda was sentenced for robbing 9 million euros with her boyfriend. When the police captured her, the boyfriend was dead in a shootout, and Yolanda had hidden the money somewhere in the forest. The only clue to that money was Yolanda and her SIM card, which nobody knew where she had hidden. Luckily, when Macarena digs into Yolanda's pot, she finds the SIM card inside the soil, but she hides it back and doesn't tell anyone about it. That day, Annabelle's lawyer also came to meet Macarena at her request, but she could not say anything to her. Also, when she gets a panic attack due to the prison activities, she finds out that the prison doctor is a pervert who wants to use Macarena for his pleasure. Back in the cell, Annabelle approaches Macarena and demands she do a favor in exchange for the lawyer's help. Though Macarena was not able to talk to a lawyer, she now has to do this favor for Annabelle, who is a drug trafficker in the prison. That's how things work behind bars. Later, someone hands Paloma's access card to Macarena, as she would be using that in favor of Annabelle. But it is captured in the cameras, and guards come to inspect it. To handle the mat, Macarena tells Curvy that she has the access card, so Curvy creates a fuss to distract the guards, and Macarena meanwhile hides the card in the mashed potatoes. But after some time, it is also captured on the cameras. That night, Macarena is hiding in the ball box, waiting for the package that she has to get for Annabelle as a favor. Suddenly, a drone comes there with 500 grams of drugs hanging with it. Macarena gets the package, but she is caught by the prison guards with the drugs. So she is sent to solitary confinement as punishment for 1 week. During the solitary confinement, Macarena accidentally sprained her hand, so she is taken to the infirmary again. After that, Macarena honestly tells her parents that she is in prison. When the parents come to meet her, she tells them that she fell in love with a married man who then conned her and put her in jail. Macarena's father is an ex-policeman who has experience in such circumstances, so he hands over 500 euros to Macarena secretly and asks her to use it wisely inside the prison. Later, the governor of the prison, Mirinda, asks Macarena if she knows anything about the murder of Yolanda. At this, Macarena rats out on Zulema and tells the governor that Yolanda was with Zulema that night. Also, the governor doubts the prison guard Paloma because her card was found with an inmate as Paloma's baby is in danger, so she doesn't say anything about her dealing with Zulema. But she hints to Fabio about her harsh circumstances. At the onset of Yolanda's murder investigation, Inspector Castillo concluded that the person who murdered Yolanda was after the huge amount of stolen money she hid before she was incarcerated. The following day, Paloma goes to the cell of Zulema and vows to her that she will keep her mouth shut. On the other hand, Macarena threatens Zulema by saying that she will rat her out to the police. However, Zulema threatens her back and says that she is going to hurt Macarena's father. Hearing this, Macarena runs back and tries to use the phone booth to warn her father, but she has no credit. Nor does Annabelle help her, instead of taking her money. So, an idea hits her mind, and she takes out the cell phone of a prison guard, Palacios, secretly. She uses the phone to call her father and tells her to be cautious of the danger due to the Zulema. At that time, the father is meeting Simon, who has tricked Macarena and put her in jail. So the father asks Macarena to call Simon, as he wants to testify about some of his doubts. When Macarena calls Simon, the father understands from their conversation that his daughter is really innocent, and Simon has cheated on her. So he threatens Simon that he should take the charges back. Otherwise, his life would be miserable. In the meantime, Zulema asks her Egyptian boyfriend, Hanbal, to eliminate one of the two loose ends of Yolanda's murder. She has a hidden cell phone in her cell, which she often uses to contact her boyfriend. Hanbal is already a wanted criminal by Interpol, so he acts upon the instructions and kills Paloma. Now, the other loose end for Zulema is Macarena. The following day, when Macarena is in the infirmary, a prison mate, Teresa, comes to her and asks a favor. Teresa is a drug addict, and she is in the infirmary to give her urine for the drug test. As she doesn't want to go to solitary confinement for the drugs, she asks Macarena to urinate in her bottle of sample. Also, Macarena agrees to help her. Later, Macarena meets her father, and they discuss how she can get out of prison. Though Simon took the charges back, Macarena would still have to pay 1 million euros back, which was conned. So Macarena tells her father about Yolanda's money and the SIM card she had found in the farming pot. The father asks her to take out that SIM card and hand it over to him. But when Macarena goes to get the SIM card, she discovers that the card is not present there. Her cellmate Sol has already taken that card. In the night, when Macarena asks Sol to give her the card, she advises Macarena not to indulge in such a business because it will take her life. She genuinely wants Macarena to stay out of Yolanda's money matter because everyone in the prison has eyes on it already. Sol throws the SIM card in the toilet, but Macarena takes it out quickly and wipes it, saying that she needs it the most as she can't stay in prison. Now Macarena has the SIM card and also Palacios' phone, which she tries to use while in the bathroom, but Annabelle hears the voice of the phone and steals the SIM card along with Macarena's clothes. Also, she gets another shocking news that she is pregnant, as evident from the urine sample she has given in place of Teresa. So the next time Macarena's father comes to visit her, she is shocked and tells him that she has lost her SIM card, and now there is no chance of getting the money. After that day, Macarena confronts Sarai because Annabelle has sold that SIM card to Sarai. Though Sarai is already angry at Macarena for taking his girl Curvy, Macarena still succeeds in getting that SIM card from her in return for some favors. Back in her own cell, when Macarena puts the SIM card into the phone, she finds out that the SIM card is password protected. She tries different combinations, but it doesn't open. Then she remembers Yolanda's conversation about the importance of the digit 8. So Macarena tries 888, and it works luckily. Inside the SIM card, there are pictures of the location where Yolanda had hidden the money. Macarena forwards the pictures to her father and then tells her about the location on the phone. Now the father is going to dig out the money with his son Roman. But as soon as they purchase the shovel, Hanbal comes there and forces Roman into the back of the car. Meanwhile, in prison, Macarena hands Curvy the cell phone and says that it's a goodbye gift because she can't be her friend, as she has promised to Sarai in return for the SIM card. To show Sarai that Macarena is fulfilling her promise, she fights with Curvy in front of everyone. Later, the doctor tells Macarena that she can abort the child within a week with the pills, but for getting the pills, Macarena has to give some pleasure to the doctor. Macarena is not ready for this, so she rejects the deal. Later, we see the governor investigating Teresa's urine sample. She still doesn't know that it was actually Macarena's urine, so they suspect that Teresa has been involved sexually with a prison guard. At night, when Fabio searches for some clues, he sees that it was Macarena who stole Palacios' mobile phone. Meanwhile, Valbuena, a prison guard, plants drugs on Zulema's cart with the help of Teresa to anger Annabelle so that they can eliminate each other. By seeing those drugs, Annabelle thinks that Zulema is trying to overtake her business of drug trafficking, so she threatens her and also beats one of her accomplices badly. On the other hand, when Hanbal opens the back of the car in an isolated place, Roman hits him in the belly and succeeds in fleeing from that place. He goes straight to the police station, and his father comes there in no time. Scared of Hanbal, they decide to tell the whole story to the police, but then Roman receives a call from Macarena. She tells him that she can't spend more time in prison. People are harassing her there, and she is also expecting a baby. It's very tough for her to live in the prison. Listening to this, Roman and his father decide not to involve the police in this matter and handle everything on their own. Back in the prison, the police use Curvy to get to know whether Macarena knows about Yolanda's money or not. They bug her and give her the greed of freeing her within a month if she helps them in the matter. Curvy agrees, and when she talks about Yolanda to her friend, Macarena tells her everything. So Macarena is taken to the police officer Castillo, who now wants her to give her the location of the buried money. But the location is in Macarena's mind, as she has destroyed that SIM card. On the other hand, Roman and his father have also reached the location where the money is buried. But when they suspect that someone is following them, they start digging at a different location to distract the pursuer. In the meantime, Castillo, with Fabio and Macarena, has reached the forest to search the area where the money was hidden. But they are surprised to see Hanbal already present there. This resulted in a gun battle, killing Castillo's partner while injuring Castillo and Fabio, with Macarena frozen in shock. With Fabio and Castillo badly injured, she is on her own now, with the threat of the Egyptians still looming around in the forest. At first, according to Castillo's instructions, Macarena tries to stop Fabio's bleeding. She puts her finger in the exit wound of the bullet on Fabio's body. In the meantime, Castillo tries to reach the emergency service, but they need to be guided from the main road to the location in the forest where Fabio and Castillo are injured. So Macarena has to go and get help, but she is scared of Hanbal's potential danger. However, when she sees that the condition of Fabio is worsening, she takes the gun of an officer and runs towards the road to get help. To her bad luck, she comes across Hanbal, who gives a message to her for Zulema. But Macarena gets anxious and shoots at Hanbal. However, Hanbal doesn't get hurt and flees from that place. After some time, the National Guards come for the help of Macarena and the injured ones. After 10 days of this incident, Macarena is seen in the infirmary again, where the doctor shows her the ultrasound of her belly and also lets her listen to the sound of the heartbeat of her baby. Now Macarena's mind has changed, and she wants to keep that baby instead of aborting her. The following day, when Curvy goes to meet the governor and asks for her freedom, which she was promised in return for helping the police, the governor tells her that Curvy can go outside on the day job if she gets a job in any company. But everyone knows that no company would allow an inmate to work in their office. So it was actually a bogus deal and was just to use Curvy for their own purpose. Although Macarena calls her uncle to help her friend, he requests that he give her a job with an inmate friend. Macarena claims that her uncle has agreed and will come for an interview with Curvy soon. Outside the prison, Hanbal visits the house of Macarena's parents and even shoots at the sofa, leaving his mark behind. He is spying and getting information about Macarena's family because Zulema's next target is Macarena. In the house, he also got photos of the place where the money is buried. Meanwhile, Sarai's family sets the marriage for Sarai, and she gets married while in prison. Also, Curvy gets to know that Macarena has played her while mentioning the job offer from her uncle. She was doing this to take revenge for spying on her, as her uncle never visited the prison for the interview. That's why Macarena and Curvy again get separated from each other due to these clashes. Meanwhile, Zulema, who is getting frustrated by Hanbal's lack of communication, confronts Macarena to find out what actually happened in the forest. Macarena only reveals to her that Hanbal sent a message for her, which is a passage from the Quran meaning to purify herself of the sins. This angers Zulema on Macarena because she took many days to relay the message. So Zulema threatens to harm Macarena's child the next time she does something like this. However, Macarena also threatens Zulema that she actually shot her boyfriend in the forest and that she's capable of such an act again. She asks her never to threaten her child again. In the meantime, the doctor continues harassing Macarena. in return for a little perk of the prison. The following day, when Roman and his father go to the forest to dig out the money, they see that Hanbal has already extracted money from there. Also, Hanbal has informed Zulema to get ready as he is going to escape her from prison. Later that day, Inspector Castillo comes to the house of Macarena's parents and investigates if they know anything about the money. He doubts that the father is on something, but is never going to reveal it to him. Castillo also notices the bullet mark on the sofa left by Hanbal, which the father later covers with a blanket. Back in the prison, Macarena tells Governor that Hanbal may have the money by now, and he will try to get Zulema out of the prison by hiring the hitmen with that money. Also, Zulema has sent her servant lady Casper to Macarena to serve her from now on. She wants to give a gesture that they are friends and will never go against each other from now. But in reality, this is just a show-off and she's pretending to be nice. Later, the prison staff gets a €5,000 note sent by Hanbal to Zulema. There is a secret message hidden in that note for Zulema, which the guards and the police decode and start spying on Zulema. But Zulema knows about the spy thing, and it turns out that the lead that the police got was a false one prepared by Zulema herself. In the meantime, Fabio has also started doubting that Valbuena is using drugs and might be dealing with the inmates. On the other hand, Annabelle again wants Macarena to do a job for her, as Macarena is still in debt to Annabelle. She wants her to meet a person in private and gets the drugs from her for Annabelle. Disgusted by the request, Macarena tells Fabio that she is being used for drug trafficking and that she is being threatened daily if she doesn't comply with Annabelle. The following day, when Macarena gets the drugs from the man, she gets inspected by the doctor, who sets the camera on recording and asks Macarena to give out all the drugs, as he knows that she was meeting the man for this purpose. Also, he offers not to reveal her secret to anyone if she gives her body to the doctor. Macarena complies with the doctor and gives all the drugs. Now, Annabelle's debt on Macarena has increased even more. Also, Annabelle and Zulema are working together now. Zulema asks Annabelle to attack Macarena to collect her debt. When Annabelle captures Macarena and restrains her to a chair with the help of her acquaintances, Zulema comes there to save Macarena. She even pays off an amount as an advance debt payment for Macarena. Meanwhile, while searching for Hanbal, Roman and his father attack a tourist van and scare a family. They have no choice but to find Hanbal and extract money from him, irrespective of how dangerous he can be for them. On the other hand, Macarena has an idea that the fetus in her womb could prove that Simon was in a relationship with her, and he conned her. So she requests the governor for the DNA test of the fetus, which could be provided in court. While leaving the office, she overhears the conversation between Castillo and the governor, who are asking how Zulema could try to escape from the prison. So Macarena conveys this information to her father. Later, she goes to the doctor asking for the DNA test of her fetus. But the doctor threatened her, saying that for DNA, they would have to go through amniocentesis, which could be harmful to the baby. Macarena gets the doctor's intentions and undresses herself. She is going to give in before the doctor because, this time, her chances of getting out of prison are strong. However, the doctor asks her to get out of the room, as he will use her at the time when he will want. As Macarena comes out of the doctor's room naked, Fabio gets security footage from the monitoring. Now he starts doubting the doctor. After that, Fabio goes to Macarena to ask what the matter is. There, Macarena says that the doctor has been harassing her for his pleasure since she was in prison. So Fabio goes to the doctor to ask him about it. Unexpectedly, the doctor already has a story to tell him. He says that Macarena is suffering from a psychological problem. She has bipolar disorder, so she gets excited whenever she wants something from the person in front of her. As she now wanted a DNA test, she herself undressed her clothes and offered me the pleasure. But he claims that he rejected her offer and sent her back. To prove his stance, the doctor even shows Fabio the medical reports of Macarena. Knowing about the psychological illness, Fabio goes to the parents of Macarena and tells them about the mental health issue of their daughter. But the father completely rejects this diagnosis and even shows the reports cards of Macarena, saying that she has been a very diligent daughter who never had any mental health issues. In the meantime, Zulema binds herself in the laundry room and orders her servant to burn her body with the steam iron. She is planning to escape from the prison, and for that, she is going to bear all the pain. Fabio gets a call from the prison when he is in the Macarena family house. He is called back to the prison immediately. When he comes back to the prison, he learns that Zulema's body is badly injured, and she has to be taken to the hospital. But before that, Fabio confronts the doctor about the mental health of Macarena. He tells him what he heard from Macarena's parents, that Macarena doesn't have any mental health problems. To cover his true face, the doctor comes up with more evidence in his favor this time. He shows Fabio the video of Macarena, where she accepts that she is trafficking drugs inside the prison. Also, now the doctor has some reports of Macarena claiming and that she has secret diseases. The doctor's doing all this to damage the character of Macarena in front of Fabio. After some time, Fabio approaches Macarena and tells her about all the lies she has told to him. Now he believes that it is Macarena who is playing with him and not the doctor. Listening to all this, Macarena starts weeping, but she doesn't complain anymore. Meanwhile, Roman and his father speculate on Hanbal's move to free Zulema from the ambulance while traveling to the hospital. As an ex-policeman, the father can exactly predict where Hanbal's hitman would block the passage of the ambulance and where Hanbal would stand to oversee the whole operation. So before Hanbal's hitman could get Zulema, Roman and his father pointed the gun at the head of Hanbal and seized him in the back of their car. Back in the prison, Macarena is again captured by the masked inmates and threatened to kill her baby. It looks like Zulema's acquaintances are still following her orders, even when she is not in prison. Meanwhile, the father gets a mini heart attack when he is driving the car with Hanbal in its back. So Roman takes his father to the hospital and shifts Hanbal from the car to his garage. Also, Roman has to shoot at Hanbal's leg to make him silent throughout the whole procedure. When the father is in the hospital, Hanbal's phone rings and Macarena's mother takes the call. Zulema is on the other side of the phone, and she has forced a doctor to give her the phone. During the call, she extracts the information that Macarena's father is in the hospital, and as Hanbal's phone is with him, so Hanbal must be captured by Macarena's family. Outside the Zulema's room, the doctor looks very anxious as Zulema has forced her to discharge her as soon as possible. Costilla notices the anxiety of the doctor and asks what the matter is. To this, the doctor talks about the call, and when they check the details, it turns out that Macarena's father is also in the hospital, whom Zulema called. Back in the garage, Roman tries to extract the bullet from the body of Hanbal, but his mother calls him outside. Roman has to tell everything about Hanbal to his mother because that killer is present in their garage at the time. Just then, Castillo comes to their house and investigates the matter. However, Roman and his mother succeed in hiding the killer. Though Castillo has suspicions about them, he has nothing to probe those suspicions. After some time, Zulema is transported back to the prison, where she quickly gathers her team again and attacks Macarena. She sends the picture of Macarena to her father and asks him to release Hanbal. Otherwise, she is going to kill the baby of Macarena. Zulema has kept Macarena and the guard Palacios as hostages in a cell. Also, the door is covered with mattresses so that no one can see what is happening inside. Zulema is with Sarai, who has taken the gun of Palacios and even shot at a prison guard. So the matter is tense inside the prison. Zulema again calls the father and asks him to leave Hanbal. Otherwise, the baby of Macarena would be dead. Zulema had given poison to Macarena, which would abort her baby in some time if she was not transported to the hospital. While the father knows that it's their last chance to get Macarena out of prison, so he doesn't waste it by releasing Hanbal. He compromises over the baby and drives to the prison himself, where Castillo takes over the situation. Also, Castillo knows that Zulema is dealing directly with Macarena's family, so the father now has to tell him everything honestly. He tells him that he has captured Hanbal in his garage. After that, the father calls home and asks his son and wife to leave the house because he has told them everything. He is taking all the blame to himself, so they would not need to get involved. But the mother does not agree with him. She goes to the garage and kills Hanbal by wrapping a plastic bag around his neck. She wants to stay with her husband, and also she is angry at Hanbal for what he did to their family. When Roman gets to know about this, he goes to the garage and burns down everything. On the other hand, the police have successfully entered the cell where Macarena was taken hostage. But it's too late now. Her baby is dead already in her womb. At the police station, the father is being interrogated by Castillo, but the other side of the party is a wanted criminal, and Macarena's family did all this to save Macarena so the police don't take any strict actions against them. Later, we see that Roman has successfully gotten the money from Hanbal, but now he is worried that he has become a criminal. Just then, the father receives a call from Hanbal, meaning that he is still alive and succeeded earlier in fleeing from their house. Now Hanbal is angry at the Macarena family and asks them to see what he is going to do to them. The father proposes to him to take all the money back as they just need $1 million to save Macarena. but Hanbal wants revenge now. Roman's behavior infuriates him even more. Back at the prison, the doctor still has a grudge against Macarena, so he is planning to send her to the mental hospital, saying that she is having delusions and her mental state is not good. The doctor even convinced the governor of this by showing his forged reports to her. Later, Macarena goes to the office of the doctor and asks him to do whatever he wants with her, but don't send her to the mental hospital. The doctor agrees, and he wants to punish Macarena for all his deeds. He locks the door and starts beating Macarena's butts with a metal object. He is really a pervert who uses female inmates for his evil desires. Luckily, Fabio had already seen Macarena going inside the doctor's office, so he would have arrived on time. He breaks the lock and enters to see that the doctor is beating Macarena in a compromised position. Now, there is no way left for the doctor to present his innocence, so Fabio asks Macarena to get dressed and go outside. Then he starts beating the doctor harshly straight at the face. After that, Fabio asks him not use any inmate again like this. He still gives him another chance to mend his ways, otherwise Fabio will complain about him to the governor. Later that day, the doctor deliberately falls from the stairs down to show that the bruises on his face are due to this fall. On the other hand, Hanbal takes revenge on Macarena's family. He runs over the little girl on the road and kills her. It's Roman's daughter who was getting out of the house after celebrating her birthday. After a few days, Roman comes to visit Macarena in the prison and tells her about the tragedy that happened to his daughter. This shocks Macarena, and she goes straight to take revenge on Zulema. She uses a cord made of bed sheets and hangs Zulema with it when she is in the bathroom. Sarai sees this, but she doesn't help Zulema, as she is angry at her for slaughtering Macarena's baby without telling her. However, Curvy comes there and stops Macarena from becoming a killer. The following day, the governor informs Macarena that before the abortion of her baby, they had sent the blood samples for DNA reporting. Now, reports have come in that Simon was involved with her in a relationship. This means that the court will revisit its sentence for Macarena, and she will be released soon. But Macarena's facial expression doesn't change after hearing the news, as she has now become accustomed to the circumstances of prison. In the meantime, Palacios receives a call from Fabio's wife, who asks him why Fabio has not come home after his shift yesterday. Also, he is not picking up his phone. When Palacios checks the car of Fabio, he finds out that it is still parked outside the prison, meaning that Fabio has never left the facility since yesterday. Also, no one has seen him recently, so everyone starts searching for Fabio in the facility, but cannot find any trace of him. Palacios thinks that someone has killed him and even mutilated his body to export it out of prison, but nothing is confirmed yet. Outside, Zulema's lawyer calls Macarena's father and asks him to meet. He says that Zulema wants a deal with him now. She wants the money back, and in return, she will never look upon his family again. Also, in return for money, Zulema is handling Hanbal to them. She is sacrificing her love for the money. So after knowing the location of Hanbal, Roman and his father go to take Hanbal with them. At first, their plan is to hand him over to the police, but Roman is extremely angry at him for killing his daughter. So he takes Hanbal to a deserted place outside of the city and digs a hole for him. He is going to bury Hanbal there alive. But the father points a gun at Romana and asks him to stop doing this. By doing this, he is going to destroy his own life. When the father sees that Roman is not going to listen to any word of his, he shoots Hanbal himself so that he would take all the burden of the murder. Back in the prison, Macarena is getting dressed up in beautiful clothes, and it's her last day in the prison. She bids farewell to Curvy and gives her a warm hug. However, the hug causes Curvy's lipstick to leave a stain on Macarena's white shirt. As she is going straight to the court, she has to remove that stain from the shirt. When she goes to the laundry looking for the stain remover, she sees that Zulema is escaping the prison through a hole she has built in the back wall. Now that Macarena has seen them, Zulema forces her to go with them. As soon as they go into the hole, the washing machine is pulled back into its place, leaving no trace of the hole in the wall. So when Castillo comes there looking for Zulema, he can't find anything. Once inside the hole, Macarena was shocked to see that Fabio was there in an injured state. As she leaps towards Fabio to help him, she is pulled back by Zulema, who again forces Macarena to leave with them. Here the story ends, and what happens next will be explained in the next season.